We are live. Nice. Okie dokie. Then, most notably, 7K stars last week, I think,
Ooh.
on the weekend we hit that, which is pretty cool. Trajectory is looking good. And before we dive into the issues, let's quickly check out all of the closed PRs ever since the last maintainer meeting. First up, we have notifications provider update. This basically just lets you know. I should have added a screenshot here, but once I tested it, then I didn't have a provider to update anymore, and I was too lazy to install an old one and then update it. Anyway, you now get a notification tray if one of the providers is needs to be updated or has an update available. It's up to you. You need to click the update button in the provider view then. And if one of your connected pro instances is authenticated, this will also warn you about it. And pretty straightforward stuff. Then, Ritik opened this, right? He just added the latest video, I think, or the latest two videos to the community MD, which is pretty nice.
We may
And
want
this
to
one?
do like an automatic PR for this stuff. maybe.
Yeah, we can automate it at some point, but I thought for now it's just easiest to do it once a month. It's not that important that it's in the file. It's on YouTube anyway.
Cool.
What's
okay.
up with this guy?
So yeah, in this one we just went through the code and restricted file permissions before they were a little bit too open. So when possible, restricted to the user only. I mean, DevPod mostly works only at user level, so it's I think right to assume that only the user should read and write that stuff. So
makes sense.
Yep.
Then
And we added the test for Git credentials because previously we weren't testing it, so it's useful for the next PR.
Yeah. Just for context, Git credentials forwarding is when you clone a workspace via HTTPS. It reuses your local Git credentials helper that usually has a personal access token stored. So this way we can like forward this. Your credentials never leave the machine, but we can authenticate on a remote agent with your existing credentials. And this is also what we implemented in this PR. As of now, Git credential forwarding only happened after your after you connect it to the workspace. And with this change, you can now use Git operations during the post or the lifecycle commands. Hasn't been available previously. So let's say you want to, I don't know, clone a repo or do anything in a repo in a lifecycle command. If you clone via HTTPS, it will reuse the Git credentials. And I think that's it for the PRs of last week. Great. We do have a bunch of stuff to talk about in the issues. First up, support mutagen for file synchronization. This,
so I need to investigate because I didn't know the tool, to be honest.
Me neither. But I think having a more streamlined experiences for non-IDE users may be worth investigating. I did my stuff so far via SSHFS.
Yes.
But I've noticed it's not that fast if you have it for a remote agent. So if you have a machine provider, it kind of sucks. It's slower than SCP for some reason, at least on the Mac version. And it requires you to have admin access to your machine because you need to lower restriction, like the kernel restrictions on the boot of Mac or of your system.
It's not a user level. Okay, no.
Yeah, because you have to have OS X. Yeah.
So it's okay, but anyway, I think I don't know if how we can integrate some stuff because actually that's also what DevSpace does. For whoever doesn't know, DevSpace is another project that Loft develops. Actually, I think it's donated to the CNCF now.
Yep.
And
official CNCF.
This project basically does what the issue is asking for, but for Kubernetes pods. Um, so we already have some sort of intelligent synchronization for projects. So maybe instead of using an external tool, what we can do is extrapolate the dev space um synchronization thing
Hmm.
into a library that then dev space and DevPod can use.
Hmm.
Uh, I think it could be a nice idea because the dev space implementation has been pretty well battle tested on remote
Yeah.
environments and it
Yeah.
works well. So it may be nice. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Might be a good
Yeah,
opportunity
I just
to
don't know the
reuse
impact,
them.
like the sides impact. I
Hmm.
would say probably just using an external tool like this Mutagen, which I don't even know. Um, it may be just faster. It's just a matter of adding a couple of comments. On the other side, we are reusing our existing stuff for a thing that we already do another tool. So I don't know which way we would want to go.
Yeah. Um, I like the idea though. And I'm not sure if we should investigate this mutagen problem. I tried it and I had a different problem.
Mm.
And the question for me is it worth, because there are so many options out there, to investigate every single one of them? Or, like you suggested, have one built in that's first party, that's supported, and like, okay, this is the safe route if you want to go that way. If you don't, then we don't make any guarantees. And I think this way, even if
Yeah,
it's bigger
basically,
in
yes.
size a bit,
It
yeah.
can also, thinking about this, it can also turn out to be useful for uh, when we do, if you remember, when a Git clone fails, we fall back to local
Hmm.
cloning, and it may be useful to actually use that to send the Git repo that we clone locally in that case
Yeah, I
instead
mean,
of
we already have an implementation for this. We don't, I don't, maybe because then we get continuous file syncing, but
yeah that
I'm
that
not
I
too
was
sure.
thinking.
Let's investigate this and get back to the user. We're in this. Have you tried some iNotify and rsync stuff with DevPod?
Still not. I just use the Vim's
Yeah, you
netrw.
use NetRW, but there are some, like you mentioned, NeoTree or other
Yeah,
file keys in NeoVim that need NetRW to be disabled, and without
yeah,
NetRW, you can't have. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's a cool addition if we make
yep.
this first party supported. Okie dokie.
What happened
Have you
here?
seen this issue already?
No.
I
Uh, hmm. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. This is mostly for machine providers.
Mm-mm.
I haven't checked our exact SSH configuration,
It's
and if we even put it
it's
there.
RSA, I think
Okay.
4096. I think
Okay.
technically we can do more than one key. We can do an ACDSA one and an RSA one,
Hmm.
so that we have maximum compatibility. Uh, I don't think it's an issue.
Okay.
Um,
Great.
but yeah, maybe adding also the algorithms to the entry that we generate
Yeah.
will ensure better compatibility together with the other issue that we need to address, the one that we move the addition on top of the
Hmm.
config file instead of the bottom, so they have precedence. no
Hmm.
priority, and that way we shouldn't have any issue anymore.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I will put those two together.
Yep. I think we should still set, like, this is an easy fix for us, right? If we just set the key on the SSH config, and then we can close the issue. And then the other one is already assigned to you, right?
Yes, I will just assign this to me so we can
Yep.
I can just do together.
Yep, 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 yep. Luca,
Yep.
great. Uh, Sounds like a plan. Um, Next up, right, we opened the PR for this. This is about the dev container log output. So not
Mhm.
necessarily what DevPod outputs, but the actual container that's running.
Mhm.
And for this, we basically need to run kubectl logs or Docker logs from wherever the agent is, either a machine, your local machine,
Mm.
yeah, something like that. PR is open. We have some issue with it on your system, right? And we're gonna
Yeah, I
investigate that
mean,
later.
yeah, I think it's I know a little bit what the issue is, but we
Okay,
can
great.
investigate it together
Mhm.
afterwards.
Let's do it. Then, okay, this forwarding failed. Uh,
Mhm.
I think we discussed this last time or on Monday. Um, and it actually doesn't fail the port forwarding, but it doesn't show up in the VS Code
Right,
ports
it's the
list.
UI. Okay.
And I just left it open because I don't know, to be honest, how to add something from an external tool to that ports list. And if
Uh,
there are ways
I
to
have this.
notify VS
Um,
Code.
do you know if VS Code just listened for open ports? Because I don't know how they detect it, right? Maybe it's a matter of just matching whatever they are doing. I have no
Probably
idea
have
what
to have a
they
look
are
at the
doing.
dev container, the CLI reference,
Mm.
and maybe, yeah, we can find out what they're doing over there. That's true.
Mhm.
I think I assigned this to myself, like assigned to myself, and I'm gonna investigate this real quick. If I don't find a resolution in a couple of minutes, although it's kind of annoying if you don't think the port is working. Yeah, yeah, we should do this.
It's strange because if I remember correctly, when we do this stuff with DevSpace, it's actually working.
In the VS Code,
Yep,
um,
yes, more than IntelliJ, I think also.
okay. Did you check with
It's
VS Code
probably a
already?
matter of maybe, oh, I don't know, maybe we don't actually open the port locally when we do the forwarding. I don't know. Need to check. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be surprised. I thought this is more of an issue of advertising that the port is open to VS Code
Mhm.
because it has some special fields that you can set and
Mhm.
metadata about the port, as far as
Mhm.
I know. Okie dokie.
Okay. This
Next
one
up, yeah.
I couldn't reproduce on a Windows 11 machine. The user is using Windows 10, so
Hmm.
I will need to check this. But it seems like it may be a problem with Tauri actually, because
Hmm.
he is lamenting a lot of web view spawning.
Yeah, definitely looks like it. May also be a similar problem to the user on Mac OS who reported
Mm,
that the app just spawns infinitely.
yeah. Mm, we'll first need to reproduce it, which
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
I also think this is something that comes up sporadically. Let's wait until more users chime in here and experience the
Mm,
same problem, to be honest,
yeah.
before we spend a lot of time guacamoling our way to reproducing this.
Yeah, perfect.
Great. Um,
Yes, this
yeah,
one is missing the right. The
yep.
mm,
This is, I don't know if we have an implementation for Docker build with Docker Compose.
mm,
This is what we wanted to look into.
yep, yeah, yeah. Need to investigate this.
Still on
It's
it.
in my
Okay.
to-do list.
Then I don't think there are any more updates from the last time. I just opened a couple of issues.
Hmm.
Uh, they should. Okay.
Oh, this one was the one missing
Yeah.
the. Mm,
Um,
Mm.
We will have to try that. Although, yeah, no, we'll need to repro it. But it's rather lower prior for me, to be honest, at the
Okay.
moment. What do you think?
I mean, it's probably will go together with the other DevPod will build one. So
Mm. If you can repro it with the
yeah.
other one, why not? Yeah.
Mhm.
This is resolved now, right? Or at least
Just need
soonish.
to fix the last test. Um, I just checked what's not going well. It's just trying to delete the provider without deleting the workspace. So it was just a matter of adding the delete to workspace, but the rest is passing. And yeah, I mean the
Nice. And now we have reset and rebuild as commands. Rebuild is basically like it behaved previously, right? And reset is wipe everything
yeah
down on
rebuild
me.
goes back to how it was at the beginning.
Yeah,
So it just redoes the container actually, while reset wipes everything and starts from scratch.
that makes sense. And then these bind mounts, we haven't talked about this yet. I investigated it on Monday, and the problem is mostly that if you have an empty PVC,
Mm,
it will be mounted as a directory, whatever you give
mm.
it as the source. And so what we could do, and because it's mounted as a directory, like we can't mount it as a file anymore.
Mhm.
Um, there are workarounds, or what we could do is have like a catch-all mount on the pod itself, and then manually, because what we're doing right now, we have this mount on the pod that points to the or that's a subpath at the PVC, and then when we start the pod, we stream the actual contents into these mounts.
Okay.
At this point, we don't copy them.
If it's a file,
From,
you just skip that PVC part and stream directly the.
yeah, but we have to have the mount somehow, or we won't have it on the PVC. Oh, that's what I mean. We need to have a catch to solve this. We need to have a catch-all folder on the PVC where we
Mm.
could put in all of the file mounts
Ah,
and then
okay,
similarly
okay.
get back
Hmm.
to the
Also, yeah.
where it actually is supposed to be. But it was a bit like I wanted to wait if more people experience the problem, because usually you can like just put it into a folder, copy over there, and then have a post create command or something like that that copies the file over to your destination.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, got back to the user. I would wait for more input here before we do anything, because it's really workaroundish, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's the first time anybody had to use it.
Cool.
Cool. I think that's about it. Action plan for next week is clear. Although next week is going to be KubeCon. So if
Yes.
anybody watching this wants to stop by, there's a Loft booth. We are there with vCluster and DevPod, and happy to talk to you all. Great.
Cool.